Good evening, everybody. This is a few more people than we usually have in this room. Just a couple of housekeeping items. The mics are hot. We're on TV, and we're on YouTube live. So you have to push the button, get the green light. Please leave it off when you're not speaking. Otherwise, we'll get feedback. And it is 5:07 on Monday, September 25th. And it's my honor to call this meeting of the Twin Saults Joint Commission to order. Deputy City Manager, could we get a roll call for Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, please?
Mayor Gary.
Here.
Commissioner Bauer.
Here.
Commissioner Bospis-Rath. Here. Commissioner Habusta.
Here.
Commissioner Marble.
Here.
Commissioner Miller. Commissioner Rubenstein.
Here. Commissioner Miller is unable to make it this evening. If we could have a motion to excuse, please. So moved. Moved and supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Miller is excused.
Ours is a bit less formal than that. I'll call the meeting to order, and that's the extent of us. But I will commence, as we do all our meetings, by acknowledging with respect that we're in the Robinson-Huron Treaty Territory, or across the river from the Robinson-Huron Treaty Territory, and the land on which we are gathered is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, home to the Sioux tribe on this side of the border. On our side of the border, Batchewana First Nation, Garden River First Nation, the historic Sault Ste. Marie Métis Council.
And as is tradition for our meetings, if we could please rise and have a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Now, we will go through a introduction of our city commission, and I'm going to allow them to do that on their own. My name is Don Gary, and I am the city mayor, and I've been the mayor for about 4 years, was on the commission for 12 years prior to that.
My name is Ray Bauer. I'm the mayor pro tem. I was on the city commission from 2005 till 2017, and again from April of 2021 to the present day, obviously.
Steve Rabusa, I'm a first-term city commissioner. Andrew Rubenstein, city commissioner.
Scott Marble, first-term city commissioner.
We've been told that
And I'll have our council introduce themselves, commencing with Councillor Hollingsworth.
I'm Sandra Hollingsworth. That's okay. You heard me. Lisa Vezo-Allen. I'm in my second term as city council.
I'm Luke Dufour. I'm the City Councillor for Ward 2 in Sault Ste. Marie, and I'm also the Chair of the Social Services Administration Board in the Housing Corporation.
Hi, everyone. Angela Caputo. I am the Ward 3 Councillor, and this is my first term.
Hello all, my name is Sonny Spina. I'm the Councillor for Ward 1 in Sault Ste. Marie, and this is my first term.
And now we'd like to introduce our city manager, Brian Chapman, and he will introduce all the city staff that is present.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just because we don't have microphones, I'll just kind of introduce the staff going around the room. So starting over here, we have Dave Boyle, if you want to stand up and give a wave a little bit. Dave Boyle, he's our city engineer. Next to him is Tyler Perrin, Director of Public Services, Public Work. Oh, what we got next over there? Kelly Freeman, Director of Community Development. Stephanie Sprecher, Downtown Development Authority Director. Linda Hoth, our CVB person. She's not my staff, but she acts like it. Next person is Wes Beerling. He's our Chief of Police. In front of him, Kristen Collins, our finance director. Ed Miller, our fire chief. Kirk Tews, director of water operations for the city. Next to me is deputy manager Robin Troyer. And I believe that is everyone. Yep.
And with that, I'll ask our Chief Administrative Officer, Malcolm White, to introduce the Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario staff that's here.
Okay, we'll start over here on the Sioux Canada side. So we've got Karen Fields, our city solicitor, Susan Hamilton Beach, our director of public works, Shelley Shell, our CFO/treasurer, Madison Zupa, deputy city clerk, Tessa Vecchio, corporate communications officer, Travis Anderson, community development and tourism, Rick Van Staveren, economic development, and sitting at the table here down at the end is Peter Johnson, fire chief, Tom Ver, deputy CAO, community development and enterprise services, and Rachel Tazinski, city clerk. Get everybody? Yeah.
Is it just coincidence that they're all sitting on the north side of the room? We'll move into item B, which is special orders of business.
So I will ask for a motion to approve the agenda as presented. We've got Councillor Caputo and Councillor Hollingsworth. All in favor? That carries. And any declarations of pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we can move that we proceed into committee of the whole to consider the following matter referred to it for consideration. Twin Sault's Joint Council and Commission meeting. Councillor Dufour, mover. Councillor Spina, seconder. All in favor? That carries.
I thought you weren't that formal.
I think that brings us, Mr. Mayor, to the International Mutual Aid Agreement.
All right, so under B, special orders of business, item 2 is presentation on mutual aid and compact for fire services. City Manager Chapman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up tonight for commission consideration is an agreement between Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan and Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario regarding a mutual aid for fire services. At this time, I'll turn it over to the fire chiefs to kind of give a little update and answer any questions that either commission may have.
Good evening, and thank you very much for having us. Just a couple quick comments. Recently, I've had the opportunity to meet with Chief Miller, and I'd like to express the gratitude for his professionalism and his genuine kindness to get this agreement to where it is today. Ironically, Chief Miller and I have determined that we did some training together, or not together, but at the same location at a fire academy in the Detroit area back in the early 90s. A while ago. Yeah. So this agreement originated back in 1984, and it was approved by both cities. Over the years, we've responded several times, but we don't have any documentation that show a Michigan response to the Canadian side. I myself actually responded over to the Alpha fire back in 96, 97, so I've been a part of the agreement in its activation at the front line, and it worked really well. In conversations with Chief Miller, we've determined that it's important for us to do some potential joint training exercises, possibly on the International Bridge. And we'll put our minds to that moving forward to the springtime when maybe the bridge traffic's not at its peak. And all I have to say is I'm quite confident between both departments that if and when this agreement's activated, that I'm certain it'll be successful.
And I'd just like to add that it's been a great opportunity to work with Chief Johnson and to learn his background and to see so many similarities. There are a lot of similarities in the fire service regardless. Other opportunities that come from this are potential training between the departments or offerings. As the other day we invited them to a training that was offered in the Michigan, through Michigan Fire Services. We're at the end of the road at both ends, and we're connected by a bridge. And unfortunately, the resources for us are far away. So if we look at apparatus, aerial apparatus, I think you had mentioned that the closest one besides ours is 300 miles away. We're pretty much in the same boat, so there's a reason why we work towards this agreement, because we do have to depend on each other, and it's not just the border that keeps us separated. We can bridge that gap with the international bridge. The original agreement was written in a time where we didn't have 9/11. We didn't have a lot of the things that have occurred in this in recent history. So it was good to get customs agencies involved on both sides of the bridge to make sure that we're doing things right, and they understand what we're doing if this ever is put into place. We don't want any surprises. The other requirements that go along with it, such as insurance and reimbursements, are all things that were never in the original document. So we're just trying to make sure that we're updating a tool that has worked already and making sure that it'll work for the future. So,
Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan City Commission, any questions or comments in regard to this MOU?
So Ontario, Councillor Spina, Councillor Dufour, and then Councillor Vezoyan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not really, well, I guess one question maybe at the end, but a few quick comments. Chief, I can tell you I come from an emergency services background. It has never been a question in our mind that you would be coming if and when we need you, and I want to really sincerely thank you for that. The amount of ease that you bring to everyone's mind, knowing that you're there, knowing that that help would come, knowing that it's not going to be 300 kilometers away in Sudbury, it's going to come from our neighbors right here, is really instrumental in helping our emergency services personnel make decisions and know that we have the support from you. So thank you for that. The only question I'll have is if and when you do training on the bridge, I would be first in line to rappel from that bridge with you. So please put me on the list. I would love to be there. That's all.
Councillor Dufour.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a quick question for either Chief Johnson or Malcolm White, I would suppose. So on successful completion of these training exercises on the bridge, which I imagine will take place next year, would there be some consideration from our staff level at looking at our emergency response plan corporately and seeing if there are other areas in that plan where another type of, where mutual aid might be invoked, or where other areas that Sault Michigan could help us or we could help them might arise?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Dufour. Yes, in looking at this agreement, when the agreement was first completed back, I can't remember what year, 84, it did conceive of other services, including social services, for instance, being part of the agreement. So when we looked at it this time, we did decide to keep it confined to fire services at this point, but we did consider the possibility of having a look down the road at adding more components to it.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Vezoyan.
Thank you very much. This is just a comment, and I think we saw a lot of countries come together with all the forest fires that we've had this year going throughout, you know, both of our countries. So I'm just really glad that there is a more formalized agreement and more I's are being dotted, more T's are being crossed. I think it's really important that we all work together because we're all here together, and we want both of our communities to be safe and thrive. So I'm really glad for both of the chiefs to get together and be proactive and have this done. And I'm very happy to be part of this community that's making this happen. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Vezoyan. From a formality standpoint, we'll have a vote on this recommendation if there's no other discussion on the topic.
Okay.
So council, there's the recommendation. I don't know if our deputy or if our city clerk wants to read the recommendation, but I can. If not, I can't see her from here, so.
There will be a bylaw on the October 10.
Yes.
Regular city council.
So resolved that the relevant bylaw 2023-161 will appear under item 12 of the October 10th, 2023 agenda. Mover and a seconder, Councillor Spina, Councillor Vesuel, all in favor? Okay.
Do we have action on ours, city? Okay, I'd look for a motion to approve the MOU as presented. City Commissioner.
So moved.
Been moved by Commissioner Busta,
Support.
support by several, Commissioner Rubenstein. Any other questions or comments? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Thank you. Next one is for you, Mr. Mayor. I believe. on
We've
agenda
got, yes.
Number 3.
That's, yes, number 6 on our agenda. The Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario Economic Development Update. I believe we've got Rick Van Staveren, our Economic Development Director, and the Deputy CAO of Community Development and Enterprise Services, Tom Vare, who will speak to this update.
Good evening, mayors and city councilors and commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to present tonight. Wanted to provide a quick update on our economic development activities in Sault Ste. Marie, Canada. First up, we have a major project underway at Algoma Steel. It's a conversion of their steelmaking process to electric arc furnace. So it's a significant project, over $700 million for this project. They are on track to have full implementation in 2029. And the first furnace is scheduled to be online in 2024. So it'll be a significant difference. You'll notice out your windows when you're looking at Algoma Steel as they move to electric arc steel making. And make it's reducing their emissions, greenhouse gas emissions by about 70%. And so it's a significant contributor to reducing greenhouse gas emissions in the province of Ontario and in fact in Canada. And so it will also help them to be a more sustainable steel mill and pave the way for their future operations. So that's a big one for us on the Canadian side. Some smaller projects that we have on the go, we're just about to finish our downtown plaza project. So this is a downtown revitalization project. We'll have our first programming starting October 28th, and we're very much looking forward to launching that new plaza. It has a public stage, has retail for food and drinks. We've got an ice rink in the wintertime, a fountain in the summertime, play area for the kids, and retail opportunities there. That actually is adjacent to a new downtown farmers market, which just opened this last Saturday. And we had upwards of 3,500 people at the new market. We're really thrilled to see that new building. It's been quite a revitalization project for that building, and it'll be a great new addition to our downtown that we're all excited about. City Council has just approved a Queen Street rejuvenation project, so a $6 million project will start in 2024, and that will be upgrading the streetscape in our main thoroughfare in Queen Street in downtown Sault Ste. Marie. So another exciting project and part of a trio of projects that are helping to revitalize our downtown. We have also had a number of successes this year in industrial land sales. So 31 acres have been sold in our industrial park. This is helping to grow new jobs in the community, contribute to our tax base. And so we are now looking to our second industrial park property called Wood Park Court. And we're just doing an EA on that to extend the road and open up new lots for servicing. Our economic development team, led by Rick Van Staveren, is developing a new economic development strategic plan, which we'll have in Q1 2024, and that'll tie in with the corporate strategic plan that our city councilors and mayor are putting together. And just some other economic growth notes. Station Mall, our main mall, has announced a $60 million revitalization investment, so that's great news. They're looking at opening up the mall to face the waterfront, add in new entertainment and food and retail options in the community, so there's lots of excitement with that. We've had a number of new retail developments in our community, Great Northern Road, Princess Auto, and Winners HomeSense opening. Our Wellington Square Mall has probably 6 new restaurants and shops in there, and it's transformed with a giant tiger, a Dollarama, a number of new retail stores there. We have a new 107-unit apartment building under construction with the Royal Canadian Legion and Saldan Developments, which we're very much looking forward to those new units coming online in our community. And we're seeing that tie in very well with a strong focus on creating new housing, both from the provincial government and also the federal government in Canada. So we're anticipating new funding programs that will help to spur on new residential development in our community in the coming years. Thank you for the opportunity to present.
Thank you, Tom. Council, any questions on that presentation? Very positive summary of the things that are going on in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and we look forward to all of these projects working their way to successful completion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Any questions from our city commission or administration? Are you doing it from back there? Okay. And we'll move into item B, special orders of business, number 4, City of Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, project update. Trying to buy you some time to get your slideshow up.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We didn't have the capability. There we go. All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few project updates for Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. These are some projects that are completed, some projects that are ongoing. First big project that we have going on is our Carbide Dock project, which also involves the reconstruction of Easterday Avenue, although I love the word rejuvenation a lot better than reconstruction now, so we may incorporate that. Carbide Dock is a $23 million project. We are currently in construction of this project. We're anticipating it being done 2024. Our counterparts from Sault, Ontario may have seen all the water work this past summer. The seawall has been completed. Everything's anchored in. They're filling it with aggregate right now, and they should be capping it off next week or two, and they'll start working from the shore on back. Part of that project on the west side over here will be the reconstruction of Alford Park. Just to kind of give you a concept drawing of what we're talking about here. This will all be open park space to the community. There'll be a nice boardwalk that extends across the property. This is one of our key fishing areas, I'm told, from the shore, so that'll be back open to the public. In concert with that was the redevelopment of the brownfield site here with Seafreeze, or the LSSU Center for Freshwater Education and Excellence. This will be one of our key stops for the cruise ships that come in. Currently, they're on a piece of property that is managed by a private entity, but next summer, the summer after, the cruise ships will be able to start landing here. So this dock has been designed to handle everything from the smaller cruise ships all the way to the 1,000-foot freighters that we see going through the river there. With that will be the reconstruction of this area to include the capacity to offload or load bulk materials for either distribution through the UP or to another site. Just as a offshoot of this project, Kokosine, who is redoing the Soo Locks, has redone this entire strip for us for their use, and once they're done with that project, they will turn it back over to the city. So this whole area will be reconstructed and 100% in the next couple of years and ready to use for the public and commerce. So it's one of our bigger projects that we've got going on. With that is the reconstruction of Easterday Avenue. We're upgrading that to be a heavy truck route to be able to handle the trucks loading and offloading all the aggregate and salt that may come in. So just kind of show you some highlights of the construction process for that property. You know, it's a really neat project. You can see it from the water side, but it was a great project. This is Easterday. Got a couple of roundabouts going in there. Our citizens love roundabouts. I don't know about yours. They just clam for them, so. A couple of roundabouts going in there. We have drone footage of Easterday Avenue. Shout out to Jim Lahaki, who's in the audience. He was in the audience. he took this drone footage for us. So this is looking down Easter Day from the start of the project going towards Ord and Spruce Street. So you can see all the new curb and gutter, you can see the new approaches, you could see a couple of the roundabouts if I haven't passed those already. The whole area just looks fantastic now. I mean, the new curb and gutter looks fantastic. There's one of the roundabouts. And they're going to start pouring concrete this week, Dave, correct? Asphalt, sorry, asphalt this week, so. But it's a great project. Should have put a little music in there, right, Dave? Or sped it up, one of the two. All right. And there's the end of the project. So, all right, so moving on to a project that we recently completed last summer or the summer before. It was our downtown access and placemaking project. This was a project that started before COVID. It's about a $6.2 million project. The project involved reconstructing 4 different segments of road and 4 different parking lots. This was a project that the city contributed money in, as well as the state of Michigan through the MEDC and our local tribal partners. It doesn't sound as cool as streets and parking lots, but there was a lot of amenities added to these areas to really make them more pedestrian-friendly, public-oriented. We've got different areas within the parking lots that have benches. We were looking at different outdoor recreation activities that we could have in these areas. We've updated the transit shelters that are in the area. We put in a new different type of brick pavers. We got rid of the old brick pavers and we did stamped concrete instead. And it's just, our downtown has had a lot of movement in the last few years. And this was our opportunity to really bring our infrastructure up to a level that matches the downtown building. So we were really excited for that project. Another downtown project that we did, it was a smaller grant, was new wayfinding signs, welcoming signs throughout the city to encourage traffic going back to the downtown. But one of our keystone parts of this project was to replace the downtown Sault Ste. Marie sign from the bridge. There was an older sign there that I think you could put messages up there, but it really wasn't working that well. So that's a smaller project we're working on, trying to make the city a little bit more walkable. We have a power canal project. We got phase 1 of it done last summer, summer before. Phase 2 is currently on hold as there's some construction with Cloverland, our public power utility, redoing their power canal. So we've had to put a hold on that one, but hopefully that'll be done next summer. Safe routes to school, we just got the grant application approved for that. We're going to improve walkability around our elementary schools by completing our network of sidewalks around the schools, as well as making the curbs around the area more ADA compliant. So we just got a lot of paperwork done this year. Hopefully that project will be bid out soon. That one will be out for construction next summer. Just a special project, just to kind of mention, this is our roundabout statutes that will be going up by the I-75 business spur. So if you go to Walmart or Meijer in that area, that bigger roundabout, we have a local benefactor that is fundraising and donating money to put a fur trader, historic representation of the fur trader, and a historic representation of a Native American person from the area on that roundabout. So it's kind of a neat project, taking kind of a stagnant piece of infrastructure and trying to make it a little bit more lively with some public art there. One thing to note, just because I was obligated to, because Linda Hoth is here, is the I-500 project, which she is spearheading. I-500, as you may know, is world's biggest snowmobile event in Sault Ste. Marie, and Linda was able to obtain a grant to redo some of the infrastructure and add some new amenities, including a pedestrian bridge to link the viewing area along the ridge down to the middle of the pit. And I'm sure she can talk a little bit more about that one, but it's a project we're working on. Last but certainly not least, just one project of note, we are looking to expand trail system in the Ashman Creek area. So that would be the area behind Tractor Supply Company, Buffalo Wild Wings, if you guys all know where I'm talking about. We have a group of active citizens that are looking to fundraise and develop a trail of walking, or a network of walking trails and mountain bike trails throughout this open space area. The area hasn't been deemed really not suitable for development, so we're looking for another recreational use out of it. You can see from the legend some of the potential trails as well as some of the existing ones in yellow. And then just to round that out, that would be built into our existing trail system, including the water trail systems that some of the outfitters use here in town that swing around the Sioux, cut through the Canadian locks, and come back around. So we're excited for these projects to continue to see motion and movement and get them done. So is there any questions from either commission?
Any questions at all? Certainly, it's been a busy few years for us and for both sides. We have been focusing a lot on placemaking in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and we were very lucky, I think, on the Carbide and Easter Day projects to receive 100% grant funding from our federal and state partners, which is really a rarity for our projects. So I think this is the largest project that I have seen in City of Sault Ste. Marie as far as dollar-wise. I don't know what your research has shown, but certainly it does have a significant impact. So we appreciate the administration's work on this. It's been 6-7 years in the making at least. So any questions or comments? Sure.
Thank you. Very exciting. Congratulations on these projects. It's going to be very attractive to your own community, but I can see our community wanting to come over and to enjoy your trails as well. My first question is accessibility for the downtown. I know that your community is very pro accessibility for those that are dependent with walkers and wheelchairs and so forth. Can you elaborate, please, for the downtown on what you've done to improve accessibility to make it easier for your citizens that are dependent on wheelchairs, canes, or whatnot?
City manager?
Yeah.
You mentioned about around the schools, but how about the downtown?
Yeah, so.
And plus the winter,
Plus the winter.
with regards to how you're, with the snow plowing and with regards to the accessibility.
Winter's a tough one. Okay, so Dave, if you want to start heading to the microphone, I may toss this one to you a little bit. So with the downtown access and placemaking project, as well as the recent mill and overlay of Ashman, which ran through a portion of the downtown, one of the works that we did was to put in the ADA accessible ramps as well as the bump outs on all the walkways. We do have a process where we try to monitor the sidewalks and we go out and grind some of the edges down when we do have issues. So we do try to make it a priority to increase the accessibility. It's easier said than done. Dave, you got anything to add on that from the infrastructure standpoint?
And certainly our Ashman Street was Michigan Department of Transportation assisted work, so we have to follow or they assist us with that. Yeah.
That was on Ashman Street, then even if we mill and overlay the pavement, we still have to go back and fix all the ramps, the sidewalk ramps, and meet ADA compliance. So we have to put the ramps in right, and then we put
And I guess just to comment on wintertime, wintertime is tough. And we do have a couple of different programs that we use to try to keep up with the accessibility of the downtown. The city has a contract with a local contractor that goes out and plows and snow blows the sidewalks. What's the threshold? After an inch or so of the snow, somewhere around there. And that, you know, if you were downstate where I was at, that's not very often, but up here it is very often. So we do have a contract that goes out and do that. The businesses opt in to do their, to have their front portion of their businesses done. Otherwise, they're responsible for taking care of the snow on their own areas. I'm just trying to think, I lost my train of thought. Tyler, do you have anything? Or Stephanie, do you have anything on that for snow plowing in the wintertime? Oh, pulling banks, that's what, yeah, in the wintertime. So we do receive some funding from the Michigan Department of Transportation because the main road that cuts through the downtown is a state trunk line, so there's some funding there. So about 3-4 times a winter, our crews do go out and pull all the snow banks to make sure the sidewalks are full or are fully open. But, you know, again, it's tough up here because just as soon as we do that, we can get another snowstorm and it piles back up. For us, the biggest challenge is getting to the downtown and taking care of those because we have kind of short staff in the DPW, and our priority is to keep open the thoroughfares throughout the city and the emergency routes and the school routes. So our priority is those streets, but we do make it a priority to try to keep up with the snow the best we can. You know, the snow banks in a good year probably get about waist deep, maybe a little bit higher before we pull them. We try to stay on top of them a little bit more, but there's other activities that we have to do. So we do that about 3-4 times a year just to try to keep it all cleaned out, so. Yeah. Thank you.
We have one trackless unit, and I noticed when I was over in Sault, Ontario one time, you have about a dozen of them out in the neighborhood, so.
18.
Yeah. We try.
Maybe mutual aid for sidewalk clearing next summer. Malcolm, I don't know what you think, but I think that's spot on for us.
What is our sidewalk city engineer? We have 88 miles of roads, but how many miles of sidewalk do we have in the city? Lots for a small town, yeah. All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Councilor Caputo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, Mr. Mayor, I just want to say that it's really lovely to see all of these developments happening on both sides of the border. I think collectively we're both doing really well, and I would love to invite all of you to come to our side. I saw you really nodding your heads when we were talking about the plaza opening and those kinds of things. I would welcome you and all citizens from Sault, Michigan to spend some time and spend some money in Sault, Ontario. We welcome it. I think it is sort of a rite of passage in Sault, Ontario to be coming over here and checking things out. So we would definitely welcome your council and folks from Sault, Michigan onto our side and to be seeing the really great ways that we're developing over there as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Caputo. Councilor Spina.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the update. I was very excited to see you're after my heart when you start building trail networks for individuals to use outside. And I was really happy this past summer, the first time ever I participated here in the 7 Bridges run that you have downtown, which I didn't realize until that run. Your downtown is actually an island connected by 7 bridges that this run route went down, and every dollar raised was to go to the trail networks here, which I was really excited about. So really quickly, I want to highlight Travis Anderson, who's also here from Sault Ste. Marie Tourism. Travis has done a great job working with people in our community, building trails through our community, and like Councillor Caputo, I want to extend an invite. Travis and I are both avid cyclists, and you will find us any day of the week out in the mountains and in the bush. So please, if you ever want to come and experience the trail networks, join us any day. We take anyone from 5, 6-year-old kids all the way up to adults. So it doesn't matter what your skill level is, we'll help teach you and guide you through our area. And maybe you get a little bit of inspiration for the trail networks you're about to build, because I'll tell you, I'll be spending a lot of time on them myself. So please come out and enjoy ours as well. I'd love to host you and take you out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Spina. Other councillors with questions or comments? Okay. I believe, Mr. Mayor, the next item is one for us. Do you have any formalities you have to take
No.
care of? No?
No,
Okay.
it's informational.
So we will pass it along. Sunny's prefaced it a little bit, but we've got a tourism update. So Deputy CAO Vare and/or Travis Anderson, our Director of Tourism, will give us an update on that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and you get to hear from me twice, unfortunately, but Travis and Rick are here, so they can answer any questions. Our tourism sector is what we're talking about now, and certainly we feel we're well positioned to capitalize on the post-COVID trends of people looking for outdoor adventure, smaller crowds, and we're seeing the return of sports tourism and special events. Our tourism group is just in the final stages of completing a new 5-year strategic plan, but they've identified the following strategic priority areas: downtown and waterfront improvement and activation, which you've seen a bit of tonight and we hope to continue, and which you're doing here in your community; sports tourism and festivals and events, and also outdoor adventure. So certainly these priorities will guide our investments in the coming years. In Sault Ste. Marie and in Ontario, we have the municipal accommodation tax legislation, so we're collecting 4% on hotel room stays, and that's going into funds that are helping to advance our tourism priorities. In terms of downtown and waterfront attraction, Sault Ste. Marie Tourism Group has been working with the private sector. So 2022 saw the return of our Canadian lock tour boat, the Miss Marie. We'll also see the addition of a double-decker bus in 2024 that will take people to attractions throughout the community. Sault Ste. Marie Tourism is also working with Destination Northern Ontario to create a new waterfront design plan that will help to update our waterfront and continue the revitalization work that we've been undertaking. In terms of outdoor adventure, Councillor Spina just spoke to it. Mountain biking is proven to be a strong destination driver for people looking to travel and experience exceptional trails. So we've invested upwards of $2.3 million to build out new mountain biking trails in our area. And our goal really is to be the top mountain biking destination in Ontario. We're starting to see people travel from places like Southern Ontario, in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota to experience those trails. And our group's been doing a lot of work to promote them strategically through different mountain biking media publications and online social media influencers. We're also looking at new festival and special events development. So our Bonsu Winter Carnival, we have winter too on our side, just a bit of snow. Our Bonsu Winter Carnival celebrated its 60th anniversary in 2023. Tourism Sault Ste. Marie invested $75,000 to help revitalize that festival, and it's secured new leadership and volunteers, which we were really pleased to see. And it's well positioned as a winter festival going forward. The group has also invested in some new destination products, including a sweetest destination maple syrup operator that has an immersive maple syrup location where they're going to have maple syrup making huts designed for group and tours and tourists to make their own products with on-site guides. Also, our Tourism Development Fund, as I mentioned, through the municipal accommodation tax, has invested about $645,000 to support local tourism initiatives, including conferences, special events, film and television staffing, and new product development. They also invested $75,000 to support Entomica, which is a really neat, if you haven't seen it yet, insectarium that's on the Canadian side with some amazing bugs and things for the kids to hold and see, and it's quite a tourism attraction for us on the Sault Ste. Marie Canada side. And finally, in terms of our metrics, we're seeing some strong interest in our region. Website visitors have grown from 123,000 in 2021 to over 600,000 in 2023. Instagram has grown from 9,600 to 19,300. We're seeing growth in accommodations with our occupancy rates up 5%. The average daily rates are up 13% year over year, and the revenue per available room is up 17.9%, which is great to see. Our main attraction, the Algoma Canyon Tour Train, has 27,000 tickets sold year to date, and that's up 15% year over year. So it's great to see the new owners, Watco, investing in that train, and it's really starting to return to its peak days. And finally, Searchmont, our local ski hill, has had an 87% increase in day ticket sales in 2022 versus 2018. The new owners invested multi-million dollars to renovate that hill, and it's really helped to boost the hill and the attendance at that ski hill, and we invite you all to enjoy the skiing in the winter as well. Thank you very much.
Any questions from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan City Commissioners? Commissioner Bostis-Rath.
Good evening. Thank you for that. I'm sitting back here and I'm thinking how amazing it is that our two, cities are getting together and we have so much going on. I hope everybody's taking it in outside of this little meeting area and listening to everything that's going on. It's so exciting. The farmers market, where exactly is that located in your downtown?
The farmers market is at 73 Brock Street, so it's just between Queen Street and Bay Street.
Okay.
And it's a renovated facility. It's got about 40 vendors in there, and we're at capacity and with more vendors looking to come in. So our next plan is going to have to be expansion.
Yes, very exciting. And then also the bug. I have a little one, so that is Atomica. Where is that located?
Atomica is located in the Bush Plain Museum, so right at the end of Bay Street, and so they're co-located in the same space.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Commissioner. Commissioner Boosta.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a comment. I think one of the things that I often think of is one of the things that we want to do is we want to make Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, not just a place where people come and see the locks and then move on to their next destination throughout the UP. And I think one of the ways that we can do that is just this idea of spending a day on the other side and just moving beyond just Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, but moving them across to our neighbors across the border and letting them know of all these great things that you have. And so I'm excited about this collaboration effort, and I'm excited to continue to work together. And so, and I know Linda does such a great job of working together with you. So I'm just really excited about this collaborative effort. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Commissioner. Anybody else? Commissioner Rubenstein.
Yeah, just a quick comment. I certainly appreciate everything you guys have to offer on the other side of the bridge. We take our kids over for gymnastics almost every Saturday at the Rose Center, and typically find ourselves exploring other things over in Canada. So thank you, and we appreciate everything you have to offer.
Thanks, Commissioner. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilors from Sault, Ontario. Councilor Hollingsworth, Councilor Venezuelan.
Thank you. I just want to say I'm so happy that you were talking about doing more joint tourism. And I think it started with the cruise ships, with busing people from Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan to Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and back and forth. So that's a good start. Like you said, we look forward to, or at least I look forward to, having more of joint tourism. However, my question to Mr. Vare. Mr. Vare, can you please comment on the Group of Seven? The Group of Seven is very much of a backbone to the art side of our city and the surrounding area. Can you just spend just 30 seconds on the Group of Seven and how we've been promoting it?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to the councilors and commissioners. The Group of Seven, famous historical painters from Canada. If people aren't familiar, our Algoma Art Gallery has a number of Group of Seven pieces that they have on display. As well, we've had a number of initiatives over the past years where people have actually gone out, the local couple, the McGuffins in particular, to identify locations that the Group of Seven painted back in the day in the Algoma district. So as part of our activities to promote the community, we've had a number of exhibits at the Algoma Art Gallery. We've had promotions with the Algoma Canyon Tour Train, where people can go into the canyon and obviously see areas where the group of 7 had painted some of their famous paintings. As well, there's been a number of interpretive presentations and historical plays that have been set out about the work of the group of 7 on the Canadian side. If I missed anything, I'll invite Travis Anderson, our Director of Tourism, to add.
Yeah, we do. I can probably talk loud enough that I don't need a mic, but the equivalent of Pure Michigan on the Ontario side is Destination Ontario, and we partner quite a bit with them to do joint marketing campaigns that have been quite successful to draw people to the Sault Ste. Marie area. That's about it.
Councillor Hollingsworth, anything else?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Visualen?
Thank you, Mayor. I just have 2 things. One is kind of amusing. In 1994, I was a summer student touring the double-decker bus. I was your hostess. So, Tom, I'm available. Just wanted to let you know. And it was really popular. So, anyway, on another note, and I know the downtown business representative is here. In the past, pre-pandemic, then Director Josh Ingram would come and meet with your downtown association folks and vice versa. So I think with all of the positives and the growth that's happening, I think organically it would be great to see that relationship redevelop. It's Nicholas Luck is the director right now, and Sarah Skagen is the events person. So there's a lot of dynamic things going on. And I think collaboratively, really great way to communicate for both of our sides, you know, what's going on, be it whether it's, you know, holiday parades and so many things that families can enjoy, because I think we do see that back and forth of people going back and forth. I brought my kid over here for baseball, so I was going in the other direction. So I think there's a really good opportunity to redevelop and respark that relationship, and really at zero cost, because with the power of social media and communications, I think there could be some great stuff happening. Thank you.
Yeah, so if I could, I actually met with them a couple of weeks ago already, yes. So I'm fairly new to this position, but that's been one of my goals, is to start strengthening those ties. And so I actually had a Zoom call with them in a Zoom meeting about probably 2 weeks ago now. And we talked about all the things you just talked about. I think the last time we had joint marketing efforts was back in 2018 when former DDA Director Justin Nepper was here. And so we started talking about how can we strengthen that. Starting to already develop a marketing plan. We started talking about, you know, joint events that we could do in the future. So we're already starting. So I did meet with them. So we're going.
That's great to hear. Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councillor Visualen. Councillor Spina?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to echo the comments made earlier about the importance of these interactions and helping to not only share resources, but share what we do have across the border, so that we can, you know, encourage that cross-border tourism and cross-border collaboration. And one of the things that strikes me as something that we don't do, because it's not necessarily a city-run function, but it's a grassroots function, and it's a lot of the clubs that are in town. You know, we're talking about cycling tourism, we're talking about event tourism. We've got huge groups in town, our Sault Cycling Club, our Sault Running Club, our Sault Striders Club. If we can somehow get these groups to connect, we can really start to build that cross-border collaboration. Like right across the border, I'm going to give you a little plug here for an event that we do. We are the closest Boston Marathon qualifying marathon in this area. I'd love to see the running clubs from over here join that event, and Travis helps with that event as well, and his team. So, I mean, these are really important things that we have steps away, and at a grassroots level, I think we can do a lot of work to help our communities connect and collaborate on these things, and really it's not going to cost us anything other than making the right connections.
Thank you, Councillor Spina. Any other councillors? Okay, seeing none, I had a couple questions actually on to Mr. Vare or to Director Anderson. What's our city, and either in collaboration or independently, doing to cross-market our tourism efforts with the tourism draws that they've got here on the American side?
So Linda's been in the, you've been in the position a bit longer than I have. I started in 20, yeah. So
that also. Also, we have Engineers Day. You were here, you were right next to us, we were all, and the Bush Plane Museum was also with us. And I can tell you that it was a very successful event, except for the downpour rain. Our DDA director got stuck inside the Sulak, so it's like, but we do work together, we do cross-promote, we both put ads in each other's guides, we do all those things, and I'm always calling over and asking questions. We do hand out that information from here when people want more information about you. We give that to them. So it's like we have been working and extremely working hard. It's still COVID. Then it kind of put a complete stop to everything. But now we're back at it again, and we're going to be pushing it forward. So, yeah, I look forward to it. I look forward more. I need a tour on restaurants. So it's about putting them together for our community here also to get them across the river.
Thank you. That's important, and I think that obviously COVID hampered these efforts, but I know there was good work going on prior to that, and hopefully that can be reignited because it's only going to benefit both of our communities. So that's great. The second thing is to Mr. Vare about the double-decker bus. I've talked a long time about a downtown trolley, and is this going to be that?
To you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, that is correct. We believe that the double-decker bus will serve the demand for the trolley and really provide an opportunity for tourists and visitors to hop on and hop off and see the sights in Sault Ste. Marie, operated by a member in the private sector.
Glad to hear it. Thank you. Looking forward to it getting on the asphalt.
All right, so we'll hop over into our item number 5, which is presentation by City of Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan Convention and Visitors Bureau. Linda Hoth, I'm hoping you all know her. She is Mrs. Sault Ste. Marie, place where Michigan was born. She's well known across the state, so thank you for being here, Linda.
I'm pleased to be here, and it's great to see this. I was at the last one when we came together, so it's just really nice to see us getting back at the table again. I can tell you we've done a lot already. I mean, because I am a partner with Pure Michigan, we like to get people up here, and we do like to get them spend more than one night. We want to, and we offer a lot of different things in Sault, Ontario. Actually, I just had one of my staff members over there in the hills taking pictures as she was hiking around. So it's nice to get paid to do these wonderful things. But we do have that happening here. I had a group, Cessnas in town that we worked on for a couple of years, and we did incorporate the different attractions over in Sault, Ontario also. They went to the Bush Plane Museum, they did those different things. So it's like, we're doing it, but you guys may not see it. You know, so we're working a lot. So that Cessna group, we worked for 2 years, and it was a great group of people, about 80 people, and they spent a day and a half over in Canada. So to let you know that it has been happening. We also have, you heard I have the I-500. Thank you, Brian, for putting that up there. Yeah. And we do the I-500, and this is not the I-500 board doing this, is the Convention and Visitors Bureau, but they do have a Canadian board member on that also. So know that everybody's been working together. You just may not see all of that at a different time. So we, I know you know we're funded through an assessment also. It's a tax, 5% on every hotel room that is sold. Our occupancy is up, our ADR is up, everything is up over 2019, which is really nice because that's where we're going from. Even though we've lost rooms because of Kokosing, you're doing it, so, but we're still up. So we're seeing a big, huge difference. It's great. This is something I live by every day, so I'm always watching that. And then we're also, to let you know that with the I-500, what we're doing on it is an infrastructure. There'll be a new roadway going in, and I couldn't do this without that man over in the corner, Dave. He's the engineer and design. It's a federal grant. It's through the federal government, so there's a lot of things you have to do that I have no clue, because I am not an engineer and I am not a design person. But Dave has been in every meeting with me, and he goes over and he makes sure that I understand it. So you guys, kudos to Dave, because this is, it's way over my head. I'll just go after the dollars. So that's my part. But I'm in every meeting, and it's really nice to see. So we're going to be doing a new roadway in. That's so we can use it in the summertime. There is going to be another building. We're not sure exactly how it's going to look yet. We're working on this. And there will be a tunnel bridge, and it's a joke between Dave and I. What is a tunnel bridge? I had no clue. But a tunnel bridge from the north bluff to the south bluff so that people can walk across. It also connects the trails on this side. So it's really a great thing to happen. And then there's going to be a electricity down into the pit area, I call it. So eventually we can have concerts and all kinds of different things here. This can be used by, Lake Superior State University. Any association or group that would want to would be able to use this as something for them. I know that LSSU said they'd like to be able to do cross-country, but use the trail and for cross-country, and there could be track things happening down there. So it's to use that piece of property that only gets used once a year. So as I always say, and everybody from this side understands what I say, tourism is economic development. So we work a lot on it. We're raising $500,000 we have to raise for the other portion. I've already raised $150,000 through the Great Lakes Sports Commission, which is northern Michigan and up through the UP. I am now a board member on that because we got to find the other dollars coming in too. So we do a lot of events over here. I just had 5 fishing tournaments here this summer. Last one was this past weekend. We all work together here. I said our offices are in City Hall. We are not city employees in my office. We are ran by a board of directors, which is really an awesome thing. And Mr. Mayor is on that board also. I have the greatest board in the world, and I'll tell you, they're visionary people, so it's so wonderful to be able to go forward, and they let me do my work, my job, and get out there, so it's really good. But we have Engineers Day, I-500. We're doing, we have an event that we took over as a Convention and Visitors Bureau probably 6-7 years ago, the Paranormal Convention. Have you heard it over here, guys? 1,400 people this year. We can only fit in 1,500, so we're almost to max. But it's instead of 3 nights, we had them for 4 nights now. And they do go across the river. They do go back and forth across. So it's a constant, and I have actually another love for that bridge. Peter's sitting here. I am on the board of directors of the International Bridge Authority. So, and I've been on it for 12 years. So I want them going back and forth across that bridge, not just for tourism here and tourism there, but for the MDOT. So we all work together over here, and there is so much more, and we will be getting together soon. And he said he's coming to this side, okay? Do I have any questions for me of any sort? I could show you videos, I could show you. They're really lucky they didn't tell me to put something together, because I'd have had you here all night.
Before you ask any questions of Linda, watch what you ask, because she will take you and hold you to task. She's like the Energizer Bunny. So any questions from any of the counselors or commissioners?
Councilor Hollingsworth.
Thank you. I love your enthusiasm.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love this. I love this area. This is my home.
I can see that you bleed pure Michigan.
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So I have 2 questions. I don't know if this is a possibility. There's so many wonderful ways to promote tourism on both sides. We're already using them. You're using them. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, and even our wonderful local media partners are well used. However, something so simple, is it possible to consider where when people go through the toll booth, they receive like just a quick little flyer? And I know, I was thinking maybe I'll hold off on that question until Peter steps up, but I'm just throwing that out there. Like summer events or something like that. That's all.
Yeah, too bad. I tried to get into my grant a great big thing, like, where we could put up there and change it all the time, but it didn't make it to the end. So I had big wishes out there and stuff. So, but that would be nice if we even had some kind of could come together and for both sides be able to put something up in that area for both sides would know. So we'll work on that, because I can see that. It's something I've wanted for a long time.
Yeah.
But to be able to, you know, get the events, be able to put them in from both sides, people know
Exactly.
what's going on.
We have a captive audience, I mean, going across the bridge, and
Yeah.
in summertime, this is not negative, sometimes there's a lineup, and that's a good time for them to read, see what's going on both sides.
Yeah.
But the other question I have, if you don't mind, Linda, is snowmobiling. Your city, do you allow snowmobiles to go downtown, especially during the I-500?
Year round. And anytime they catch snow here, they
In the
can
summer
go down.
too?
Yeah, if they want to.
Yeah.
You know, there is such thing as grass races.
Ah, yeah.
But yes, the streets are open. The only ones that you can't go on is they're near the hospital and anything that MDOT owns. Other than that, every street is open, has been open for years. Gosh, that's a long time. Verna was on the board, on the commission back then, so how long has that been when they passed it?
I don't think she was on there yet. We passed it
Verna Lawrence,
15 years ago, maybe.
15 years ago? Yeah. Streets are open.
Okay,
Yeah.
and can you give us an idea roughly, if you don't mind sharing, how much revenue that brings into your community?
That I have no clue on.
Okay.
I do not get that information, but what I do have is an arrival list, and for a weekend, I can tell you where the people come from. I just did the hockey tournament today, earlier today, and I can tell you where the people are coming from, what is the percentage, are they spending one night, are they spending 2 nights, are they spending 3 nights? And it's actually a program that I use to be able to think. That's what I'd be able to tell you.
Okay. Which includes snowmobiling?
Which would include snowmobiling. Anybody with a phone in their pocket. That isn't here, that isn't from here, or isn't here from, you know, it's just coming in and going out. I can even tell you day trippers. On the I-500 last year, we had 171 day trippers.
Nice, very nice.
So, you know, those are the numbers I know. And my numbers were really close to the buttons that were sold, so everybody must have had a phone.
Great, thank you very much.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
That's all for me.
And Commissioner Robusto, we have been working on getting people to spend more than one night here and go across and do that for a very long time. It's a part of our mission is to get people to stay in the community, but to go all over, like we just did with the Sesta people. We had them for 6 nights. And they went to Tequamanon Falls, Whitefish Point, they went to Sault, Ontario. They went to Mackinac Island and St. Ignace. They didn't go to Mackinac City, though. Okay. And they actually, some of them went down by detour just to take that ride around the river. So, I mean, you know, they had a lot that they wanted to do. The Munising, they went to the boat through. So those are the type of things that we do. And we help them put their itineraries together. And we do have an app on our website that you can put your own itinerary together on. So,
Linda, would you like to brag about how many social media followers you have from a city of 13,000?
sure, I'd love to. Our Facebook ad has 155,000 likes on it, and those people follow us wherever we go. Jim Lee Hockey, you saw him earlier taking the videos and stuff. Well, there's another collaboration we do, and we never got media up here a lot. It's hard to get media around. So, but we bought the cameras, we bought the drones, we did all that, and we hired Jim to take care of it. So he's the one that's putting all the drone videos out there on, you know, Freighter Friday and, you know, Tugboat Tuesday and whatever they are. So he's doing that. But then we also have other companies that we work with too, to make sure that we're always putting something together and always making it better. When we only have 2 part-time employees and 2 full-time employees. That's all we have. So, but we have 26 Digital. We have Michigan Playground. You've probably seen them on our Facebook page, which is they go out and do things. They do the biking for us. They do all those things for us so that we can get that video out. Now we got to get them to video on your side. Yeah. So and maybe Tony can take them up. Okay? Okay? So my cousin lives over there and he knows them. So, but is there any other questions? Any other things done that?
Every year we have a annual meeting, and Linda reviews our strategy on digital versus any other media, and maybe we could invite representatives from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario over.
Yeah.
It's pretty
absolutely.
informative, and we have some regional and state partners that are there.
Sometimes Pure Michigan comes up and they gives us the overview, and we have other ones to let you know what we're doing here. So I'd love that.
Linda doesn't like to brag, but she's been on she was the chair of the state of Michigan's MACVB, Michigan, what is it?
Twice.
Michigan Association of
The
Convention and Visitors
Bureaus.
Bureaus, and has a leadership role in a lot of different
I was
areas.
out of the 21 years, I was on there 12 years, and I was president twice. And that's when we brought in I shouldn't say it, lobbyist. Because I could see we couldn't work without a lobbyist in Lansing. We have to have them. So that's went forward there. But yeah, and right now I am the co-chairman of the Advocacy Committee.
Thanks, Linda. Any questions from the Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan Commission? We hear from Linda a lot, so.
Yeah, and you're going to hear from me a lot
And our office
more.
is right there.
And if I'm not here in this room, I am watching them at home. So we stay that connected.
And I talk to Linda almost daily, so.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for all you do.
No, thank you. Thank you for the partnerships that we all have. I said Stephanie and I at EDA, we work really close. She has a part-time employee, and I hired that part-time employee part-time in our office because we want it was a young person from LSSU. We want them to stay in our community. Now she has a full-time job, and we work that closely together. It works out great.
Thanks very much, Linda. Item 6, is that your item or our item? It's a joint item, so City Manager Chapman, would you like to introduce item 6, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As a point of mutual interest tonight, we've asked representatives from the International Bridge to just give a quick update. We have Peter Pietanen, sorry, and I'm gonna butcher this one too. Emily Jocks. You coming up to her now? Nope, just Peter. We got Peter tonight. Yep, go ahead.
Good evening, Peter.
Councilor, City Commissioners, it's actually a privilege to be here again. I think I was looking at my last notes, and it was 2017, and a lot has happened between then and now. So I'm going to try and not bore you with PowerPoints and anything else that I've done in the past. I do want to recognize that with me is Emily Jocks. She is our CFO. She joined us in 2019, which she wasn't with us the last time. And for anybody that did cross today, thank you for your business. It is most appreciated. I am going to say, top 3 questions I always get, it comes in through a lot of our customer comment. I'm going to ask, traffic cameras, they are on the website, they are restored, and they are streaming. They're not still images, so hopefully anybody that is crossing would like to see how traffic is moving. They're great, like high definition, and so we're happy to have those back up. Colors, arches, the lights are back on. So I have to give a shout out to my equipment technician and 2 of his staff. So 3 staff have replaced 32 junction boxes and 1,700 feet of electrical cabling and conduit, which was somewhere within that was a short that was causing a fault or failure of the lights on the Canadian Arch. So that's why they were all shut off, even though they're not connected. One went down, we turned the other ones off just because the phone calls came in. Why is one on and not the other? So they're all out for a specific reason. So staff have been absolutely great in getting those lights back up. We are having some trouble sourcing light bulbs right now, but we're working on it. And then peregrine falcons. We did hatch 4 this year. They were not nesting on the pier of the U.S. pier top underneath the U.S. Arch as they normally do. We think it was because of the construction at the locks. They were over on the Canadian side in the nest box this year, and unfortunately we don't have a camera down there. I'm going to quickly mention the fire departments. We do partner with them annually. They do come out. We do have dry risers on 2 piers. That go up, so we have water on the deck, and even through the pandemic, we were out testing those, so our appreciation, and we will let you go up there and do some heights training again. We always appreciate having the fire department out. I'm going to bring enthusiasm down a little bit, and I'm going to give you the struggles of the pandemic, so you can appreciate the bookend that I'd like to share. the border closed. We all knew that. Financial struggles. We almost had an indefinite layoff of staff. We had an operating deficit of about $3.3 million over 3 years. The revenue loss was $11.5 million to our asset management and capital plan. I have to express my sincerest appreciation to both MDOT and Federal Bridge as the Crown Corp on the Canadian side, because without their support, there was no state or federal support on either side. So it was only through their graces that we were able to at least achieve break even at the end of that 3-year period. And through that, it was through some partnerships with MDOT in particular, initially during the pandemic, that allowed us to not have to lay off staff. Because through state employees, they took 5 of our full-time staff. They were short-staffed at the St. Ignace Garage, and they used them as plow drivers on the state trunk lines in order to keep them employed and help our bottom line in order to stay active through that, the peak of the pandemic. There was some stressful days for us in the office. Through that, it was November 8th of 2021 when the US restrictions were lifted. It wasn't until October 1 of this past year in 22 that the Canadian restrictions were lifted. So we've been operating with less than 70% of our normal operating staff in full-time, and we've reduced our seasonal staff by 2/3. So it's a lot of stress and a lot of work on a very small staff, which is 1/4 the size of the Mackinac Bridge staff. I was talking with them earlier this week as to what their staffing was. And so a lot of very small staff doing a lot of work to keep that bridge open right at the peak of traffic. And I'll add that it was a really busy day when we saw 250 cars cross the bridge. That said, we got a lot done in that period of time. We had a Rocker Link project in 2017 that was contracted to CA Hull. That was $500,000, and there was an additional project to replace bearings on the bridge. So the bridge moves. It's a living, breathing object. And the low bid on that was $1.1 million. Our staff took that in-house and completed that in 17 for $120,000. 2017, we also started a paint rehabilitation project. We went to an alternative paint system. When we put bids out for the Canadian Arch, the low bid was $6.6 million, so the bid failed. It was double our budget and the engineer's estimate. We found an alternate product called high-ratio copolymerized calcium sulfate, and I have to read that. HRCSA. It's an environmentally friendly paint alternative, and it has a different application process. The result of that was a project that was on budget at $3.3 million, was completed in 1 construction season, and it has the same life expectancy as the epoxy hard coat, hard shell paint systems that are out there today. Byproduct was we bought a pressure washer, so we've been doing a lot of our own paint work. The pressure washer, MDOT looked at it and went, "Can you help us out?" And so we ended up going up to Eagle River up in Copper Country, north of Houghton, to help them pressure wash and rehabilitate a wood steel bridge up there that they weren't sure how they were going to manage and fix. So byproduct of our own research and a failed bid ended up in a positive relationship with MDOT. And then we continued to build on that. MDOT came to us with an epoxy ejection alternative to tearing up both the bridge abutments. We found there was voids on the land base where the bridge met. That was a $2.5 million project per side. We saved all of that for $60,000 and injected it with epoxy and stabilized both bridge abutments. In this time, we completed, through Federal Bridge, a $55 million plaza reconstruction on the Canadian side with CBSA. We've been monitoring the U.S. piers for seismic monitoring with the Lock project, and we've not even seen the needle move. And that was all paid for by MDOT. We borrowed a 135-foot bucket lift from the Blue Water Bridge, MDOT, which saved us $16,000 in rental costs so that we, our staff, could rehabilitate Pier 19. We tore out the entire top of the pier top and formed it up and repoured it this year. And then during the pandemic, we did Pier 20 and did the same thing again, out in the middle of the locks. That takes me to the 2022 paint project that everybody saw and may have driven through on the Canadian approach. The Canadian federal government didn't come with any operating funds for Federal Bridge, but they did come with capital money and said in late May of last year, said, we've got $3 million for painting and steel repair, except you have to have it spent by March 31st, 2023. We're in Sault Ste. Marie, so everybody knows what we get, snow, in the wintertime. So Federal Bridge was in a panic at late May because it was already past tendering. Carl Hansen, my bridge engineer, we talked about it, went to MDOT, and through the Innovative Contracts Department, provided Federal Bridge with all of the contract language for fixed cost variable scope. Advertise your budget, tell me whoever can give me the most product is going to win the bid. In 5 weeks, we had scoped, bid, advertised, let, and awarded the project, and we finished it 3 weeks early, on budget, and didn't leave a single dime on the table. Included in that was almost 2 miles of curb and pedestrian rail, that linear feet up and back, and 170 feet on the curb rail across that was steel weld repairs. Everybody asks me about bridge inspections. We used to have an annual inspection plus a fracture critical every other year. We looked at that closely. The federal highways requirement is only an annual inspection every other year, so it's actually a biannual requirement. So we looked carefully at the staggering, went to the board and said, you know, we can save over 10 years about $500,000 if we actually abided by the federal highways requirement and staggered our inspections. So we have a routine inspection every year, or every other year, and then the off year, we have a fracture critical, which looks at 1,600 members that are considered fracture critical up close on the bridge, like hand distance away to your eyes. And in doing that, it allowed our staff the opportunity to finish the inspection results every year from the inspection report. So the inspection provides us with what we're expected to do and maintain. So through the pandemic, we put aside our preventative maintenance plan. We suspended it with our staffing. And we said, all right, we're just going to work on the critical items that are out of the inspection reports. And I'm pleased to say we're already at 70% completed from this year, from last year's report, and we've been completing 100% prior to that. But we have not been doing our extra preventative maintenance that we would like to do under the circumstances. However, through all of this, and again, this is up to the staff, in 2017, we had one lost injury day from a staff member that got hurt. That broke a 6-year safety record. And in 9 years, up to that point, we had 3 lost days to work as a result of injury. And then I looked at the sign. If you go by through the tolls and look out at the maintenance garage, you'll see the sign on the wall. We're at 612 days so far and counting. And then on top of all that, the inspection report has come back every year. The bridge is in good to fair condition, and it is well maintained. And we support that with security inspections from Transport Canada annually as well. That takes me to the partnership piece of all of this. In 2019, the binational agreement for the bridge came due. It automatically renewed for another 10 years. It's a 10-year agreement that's renewed automatically if neither owner has any reason not to suspend it. So that came and gone as an anniversary very quietly, and I'm pleased to say that we're still in business jointly together. In 2019, 2020, I worked very closely with the other bridge managers, and I'll add, I sit right now, I've been in the role for 6 years as the president of the Bridge and Tunnel Operators Association, representing all of the international bridge and tunnel crossings between Ontario, Michigan, Ontario, and New York. The manager for the Blue Water Bridge, MDOT, came to me and said, we have a reach out, it's an over-under unit. It's worth about $250,000. We're going to put it up for auction. Are you interested? Yes, please. I'll figure out how to refurbish it later. New unit is about $750,000 starting. Didn't have the money to refurbish it, but with a little bit of a conversation with Federal Bridge, they came back and says, well, if we make this a jointly owned asset like we have everything else, we'll pay for the refurbishment, give you another 20 years life out of the unit. You own it, and you lease it back to us for $1 in your off-season, spring and fall, so that we can do our inspection and we don't have to rent a unit either. and we've been doing that successfully since. Further, we have a memorandum of agreement with MDOT for mutual aid, so that if their reach-all units on the state highway are not in function or needed, we can supply ours as well. So that was between bridges as a partnership. Tolling. Everybody knows that the rates are going up. Yes, I admit it. We did have public hearings, but before we did that, we did a toll study. We had a partnership. We said, we have toll software. Our toll software is coming due August 31st of 2022. It cost us $2.5 million 10 years ago to put the software in place and maintain it. And so we said, we all do the same thing. I'm sure that we can come up with something that might be more cost effective. Can we partner on something? Blue Water Bridge does not have a binational operating agreement that Secretary of State approved. Sault Ste. Marie does. Federal Bridge operates and maintains two halves of two bridges in Point Edward, Sarnia. MDOT operates two halves of two bridges in Port Huron. They stop at the flags. Double everything. We have an agreement here. So we said, let's try a study first. So the study included a lean process improvement, toll technology white paper, technical specifications, and a final business case. The study came back and said, if you partner together, you can walk away with up to maybe a 40% savings in a capital outlay to a toll system if you partner. And so by the graces of the Sault Ste. Marie Bridge Authority and Federal Bridge and MDOT and a whole lot of other people that we talked to along the way, they agreed to let the International Bridge Administration, with my signature on the bottom line, sign the contract for a toll system provider for all three entities. So we are actually responsible for, contractually, the Blue Water Bridge on both sides of the border through this intergovernmental agreement here as a partnership. The end result was we saved 36% was the final number. We have a $9 million contract. Our share was the same as what we paid 10 years ago for the previous software. And moving forward, if we hadn't partnered, the total cost combined for all three operators, if we would have partnered or gone out separately, was $14 million. The engineer's estimate was as high as $22 million. Now I'm going to make the plug. We do accept credit, debit, MasterCard, Visa, Discover, Google Pay, Apple Pay in all of the staffed lanes. If you purchase one of our simple, convenient $2 tags and mount them on your windshield, you can go through with the commuter discount starting at 10%, 20%, and soon to be 35%. Your rate is actually going down for the commuters in the public. Effective October 1st, subject to the board's discretion and the public hearings that we had 9 public comments, 1 member of the public attend, and from the public hearings we had in 2013, our lessons learned was small, incremental, steady increases as you can. Don't hit us all at once. So, that being said, the plan that was put forward was less than 3% per year for autos on the full fare, including the increased discount, and upwards of 6% on the commercials. So, for this plan that takes us out to 2032, the fully discounted commuter fare is still only going to be $4.55. So it's about trying to support the communities while still trying to maintain our mission. This is the first step. We are not even close to covering off some of our long-term capital expenditures. But our purpose is to get up there and flood coat and seal the deck and maintain it so that we can extend the life. We've included in our studies and our annual inspections an infrared thermography scan. That was something that Carl and I recommended to the board, and we do it every 5 years. It's not a requirement. Nobody's making us do it. But for the $50,000 we get a snapshot of the bridge deck every 5 years. And now that we've got 20 years worth of snapshots, we can see what the condition change is on the deck so that we can better forecast long-term when the bridge deck overlay, which is currently scheduled for 2033, 2034, may be needed. It may be further than that if we can continue to put our preventive maintenance practices up on the bridge. Our goal is to extend that life on that deck as far as we can. And then I'm pleased to say we were able to have and host the Bridge Walk again this year. And it was great to see those that were able to come out, and we hope to see more again next year as well. And on that was a very quick snapshot of what's going on. I'm happy to take questions if anybody has any.
Thank you very much, Peter. Anybody from the Sioux Michigan Commission have any questions or comments? I just wanted to say one thing, Peter. I go over the bridge a lot. My daughter plays hockey in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, so I spend a lot of money on bridge fare, and the system is great.
Thank you.
And even a guy like me with no technical skills can figure out how to have it come off his debit account every time I go through. And every time, it's amazing. Every time we go through, there's somebody is working in that office, and I know they're both U.S. and Canadian, and they have impeccable customer service. So thank you for everything that you do. It's always very seamless. So, anybody from the Sioux Michigan? Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. We've got Councillor Spina.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I consider myself very fortunate. I think this is the third time in the last several years that I've had the opportunity to listen to Peter speak about the bridge. And I wish I could say that each time was equally impressive. It's not. You get better each time. It's unbelievable. The innovative ways that you tackle the issues that you're facing have always been absolutely inspirational and mind-boggling. It's just, I'm very, very impressed, consistently impressed with not only the service that you deliver, but the way that you find a way to yes and a way around issues that arise within your organization. I'm really happy to say that one time, I think we figured it was 2018, somewhere around 2018, Peter was presenting at a Rotary Club event that we were at. And as a result of us talking there, shortly after, myself and a small group, we walked over top of the arches of the bridge in harnesses about 222 feet above the water. So in keeping with the theme of invitations, Mr. Mayors, I invite both of you to walk over the arches of the International Bridge with us at some point in time. I think it would be absolutely fantastic for us to be up there and view our twin Sioux from there. Thank you very much for everything you do, Peter. It's been very impressive. Well done. Thank you.
Just for the record, we both walked the bridge last year, but not the That'll be our next venture, I guess, eh?
Thank you, Councillor Spina. Councillor Hollingsworth.
Thank you. You mentioned about the safety and the bridge deck, so I'm not going to dive into that because you answered my questions, but I appreciate that you and your team are very concerned about the environment. You mentioned about the paint and so forth. And I understand that you use sand on the bridge instead of salt, and the sand, I believe, is not coated with any chemicals. So can you please give us maybe 2 other examples how you are protecting our waterway, basically our environment?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Hollingsworth. First off, tags, if you can, I'm going to make the next plug. Those tags are actually good at Mackinac, or sorry, not Mackinac, but Blue Water Bridge on the U.S. and the Canadian side. I meant to mention that. If you open an account there, you only have to give them our tag, and then your account will work there as well. So the partnership grows beyond. To the paint processes, a typical epoxy, and I'm going to get a little technical because I do have a good engineer and he has taught me well over the years. I know enough to be dangerous, I guess. An epoxy steel coating requires sandblasting and full negative pressurized containment of the steel to ensure that the aerosol particles, if you will, of the paint system doesn't get put out into the rest of the environment, in the waterway, the land, or wherever it may happen to land. Containment loss is a very serious thing, and I've seen it, and it's not a good thing. The HRCS paint process, and one of the reasons we went to that is because it uses pressure washing up to 7,000 PSI, so it removes all the failed materials, but not the paint, such as the primer that may still be functioning correctly. So it helps extend that life. So you're actually removing physical particulate in chunks, which is then captured and contained. It's a smaller amount that then goes back to the landfill as opposed to a large amount. The water is then bathtubbed and separately contained and then treated. At the treatment after testing before it's released, the The particulate that's left in the water is then solidified, settled, and then sent to the landfill for proper disposal. The water actually goes back into the sanitary sewer. It's suitable to go back into the environment. Sand versus salt. We do not use salt. We use sand exclusively on the bridge for keeping the bridge. That said, salt does get tracked up onto the bridge structure, and it does cause damage to the paint systems. Our staff goes up in the springtime every year, and they shovel the sand. You'll see them out there with the sweeper. They shovel the sand in, not out, onto the bridge deck, and then the sweeper is also a vector, and so they'll come up with water, they'll flush it, clean it, vector it up, and remove all of the solids, so it's not getting put up to the environment, but rather back into the landfill properly. And then with regard to the piers that are actually physically in the water themselves, we actually have an engineering inspection that's done every 5 years, and part of that inspection includes coordination and looking at the steel that's actually underwater as well as the concrete for condition change, and there's been very little. So, I mean, those are just high-level examples, but those are just a couple of good examples, I think, that demonstrate what we're doing to try and at least protect some of the environment.
Good, thank you. I just thought it was important that you shared because I know that you and your team are definitely pro for the environment, so thank you. And my last question, if you don't mind, is the Gordie Howe Bridge, I believe, have just completed a joint project, an art project. Maybe possibly there could be an art project or some type of initiative between our two cities that can promote some art or promote a collaboration of some sort. The Gordie Howe Bridge did art, but they also did a statue where it signified Canada and signified the United States. So no, just a thought. No comments required. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hollingsworth. Any other councillors with questions from the Sault, Ontario side? No? Okay. That brings us to the next item. Mr. Mayor?
Unless our city engineer has any questions on how to get Meridian Street done for 10% of the estimate, eh? Uh-oh, here comes Linda.
Is this one on also? I want to tell you something. I got a big voice. You don't need I don't need a microphone. But I want to say, being on this board of directors of the International Bridge, it's such a privilege. And I'm going to tell you, when you see you got these board members from Ottawa, you know, and you've got them from the state of Michigan. And if you could see how well they work together and the information that Peter and Carl and Emily is the best at not allowing anybody to buy anything. And unless she knows it's going to be, she's great at it. So the staff themselves, and I want you to know as a board member, it is such a privilege to be on that board, to have a working board between a country and a state. I want you to think about it. Just think about how you're doing that, and it works. It works great. And I think that I know you guys probably have heard me say it before, but you have not heard me say it. It's a privilege to be on that board of directors.
Thanks, Linda. Moving on into item number 7, which is a Cruise the Great Lakes update. City Manager Chapman has somebody on media here. So.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Up next is Anna Tansky with the Cruise the Great Lakes campaign through the Great Lakes, St. Lawrence governors and premiers. And there she is. Anna, do you want me to run your PowerPoint or do you want to share your screen and you can do it? All right, hold on a second. We got Bonnie, can you get the sound up? Is there a mic on?
Yes, hello, good evening. All right. If you can, that would be great. I don't think, we only have a few slides, and I just want opportunity to have been in your beautiful community this past weekend. It was absolutely amazing. I can't believe I am a lifelong resident of Duluth Superior area, and it was my first visit to the Sioux. So I will be back. It was amazing. With that, are you able to share your screen, Brian? Oh, I can't. Let's see if it works. There we go. Perfect. Wonderful. Thank you. We can go ahead and breeze through these next couple of slides pretty quickly. I'm sure most of you are familiar with how we are comprised and made up for our initiative that we call Cruise the Great Lakes. We can go on to the next slide. Just covering a few trends on these next few slides. And this is, of course, the global trends, but it's important to have that context, I think, as we look at what's happening here on the Great Lakes. A really nice record-breaking year for 2022, as you can see. And we can go on to the next slide, and that covers some of the cruise line's expectations and their commitments to green and sustainable practices, which I think really the Great Lakes is so well positioned to capitalize on those initiatives because of the size of our ships, because we've already been committed as a region to these types of efforts. And so, again, a great way to highlight our region, but these are on a global level, the shifts that are taking place in what we're seeing as trends. And we can go on to the next slide, please, Brian. And just to give you a little context as well on how we are positioning the Great Lakes when people are having so many choices and opportunities, really why cruise our region. And I'm sure none of this comes as a surprise to those of us who live along the Great Lakes, but this is how we sort of position ourselves to inform the consumer. And then on the next slide, we really felt this initiative was at a critical juncture 5 years ago when we started this collaboration in 2018, because we had pieces of the Great Lakes, different destinations, especially on the lower four Great Lakes, that were enjoying a pretty healthy cruising initiative, but it was not encompassing all of the Great Lakes and collaborating with the St. Lawrence as well. And really to have a binational effort, we knew we needed all the dots on the map and all of the partners, regardless of budget size, regardless of destination size, that it really was about lifting up the entire region and creating an impact. And the only way to really do that was through a group effort. And so we were formed in 2018. And it was really intended at first to sort of do it all. And now what we're learning in my short time since having started July 1st, it became very clear this effort is fairly small when it comes to resources, but mighty when it comes to the assets and the attributes that we're marketing. So our role is really now focused on consumer awareness, really trying to generate earned media and be more forward facing to the consumer, and collaborating more with the St. Lawrence Seaway and other representatives who are more focused on the logistical side and working with port development. So we can go on to the next slide. So currently, these are the cruise lines and the vessels that they are operating on the Great Lakes. And we will see some adjustments here. We do know that American Queen Voyages was sold. And as of this point, they are not scheduled to return to the Great Lakes in 2024. But beyond that, we really don't know what the future is for those vessels. So Ocean Navigator and Ocean Voyager will be monitoring that to see if the company is purchased, where they may end up choosing to have itineraries. So it's an active and ongoing conversation. But again, from our perspective as an organization, our role is one of just monitoring and being supportive where we can, especially on the consumer side. And then the next slide highlights the Great Lakes ports that are currently seeing cruising. And Michigan is clearly the front runner there with so many on the US side, and then Ontario, just tremendous opportunities there. And so we really do see, even the communities, I can speak from Duluth's perspective. I spent many years in Duluth's tourism industry. Even though we only have one port of call, it's still a significant impact. And I think that's the message we're trying to carry forward as we grow and continue to develop new itineraries to entice the cruise lines, that every single one of these present a unique opportunity, and Great Lakes cruising itself is an experience that can't be duplicated anywhere else. And so for those who have cruised in the tropics or other locations, even European river cruising, spectacular and incredible opportunities for experiences. But in the Great Lakes region, there is nothing that is duplicated throughout all 5 lakes. It's pretty remarkable. So very much a distinction in how we are positioning ourselves to be a standout in this market. And now we'll share some data. The most current data that we have, of course, is for 2022. We are not yet through the 23 cruising season, but our most current statistics show 2022, we saw some really significant increases, very much in growth mode, especially post-COVID, after several years hiatus that you can see reflected on the graph here. We picked up right where we left off. And so again, significant economic impact, and the cruise passenger traffic very solid at when we see exactly where we're at on the number of passengers and the increase there, but as well as the number of port visits. We do have some preliminary data on the next slide for 2023, which shows the growth pattern continuing, and 800 port visits, the passenger load up more than 15%, and really seeing the economic impact up dramatically, 44%. But there's an asterisk that we'll put by that. We actually had a study that was conducted by the University of Minnesota Duluth's Joel Leibovitz School of Business, and they actually did a very extensive project that reformulated how we're calculating the economic impact. So that we'll see that adjust in future years when we're consistently using the same formula for applying that to future years as well. And then the next slide, when I mentioned earned media, when we have a small budget such as ours, the most cost-effective way for us to get the word out is making sure that we're sharing newsworthy events and just general information and feeding it proactively out into the media world. And so this weekend's event in the Soo was really intended to highlight the port and the community and show a spotlight on the fact that cruising is thriving in that region and throughout the Great Lakes. But also it was a way to really showcase different side of things, with having the Ponant being with the La Below or Lou Below, there in person as the backdrop, it just creates that buzz and energy that we can then share across social media channels. And then we really ask everyone in economic development, in city leadership, in any municipality, and of course on the Canadian side as well, to share through their channels. We're really trying to grow our reach organically. And the most cost effective way is by sharing stories and videos and even just putting up a post every now and then for an individual community and letting us know at Cruise the Great Lakes so we can share that out as well. Lots of cross marketing. But the earned media calculated for 2022 was significant. And much of that, of course, had to do with the energy and vibrancy around the return of Great Lakes cruising, but also very intentional on our part, working with our PR firm based out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is Clark Communications. And so I can tell you that we are seeing 2023 outpace these numbers for 2022. So definitely a significant part of our efforts in getting the word out. Another initiative that we really focus on is, as I mentioned, sustainability and asking all of our partners, the cruise lines, communities, to sign on with the sustainability pledge. Many of the states and provinces and communities and cruise lines have already done so. But just as a little refresher, the next slide really breaks this down into these 4 pillars. And on the next slide, it will highlight destination stewardship. I'm not going to read all of these. We can make this deck available to you all. The more partners that we have sign on, of course, the more impact this has. The next slide covers air emissions and carbon reduction, which of course, if we can advance that next slide, there we go. Again, all of the elements that this entails, and this is the expectation of consumers and residents in many cases. So it just makes good sense for us to really reinforce and uphold these efforts and highlight these initiatives. The next slide focuses on wastewater, and the final slide focuses on recycling. And then if we can advance to the next slide, Dave Lorenz, the VP of Travel Michigan, is chair of Cruise the Great Lakes and has been really a force in bringing everyone together and making sure that we're having the greatest impact that we can across all of the Great Lakes region and across our international borders as well, that this is not just a US initiative. And our next slide, just highlighting a few successes and a new initiative we're very excited about. This has only recently in the last several weeks come to fruition, and that is our membership in CLIA. And this will bring an opportunity for us to showcase Great Lakes Cruising to their 65,000 plus travel agent members in North America alone. And there's certainly an international component that maybe down the road we will focus on. For now, our efforts will be highlighted in North America, the Canadian and US side. And one of the ways they do this is through online webinars that are potential co-op partnership opportunities for destinations around the Great Lakes, as well as Cruise 360, which is a trade show held in the spring. And that is, they get about 800 to 1,000 travel agents represented there, many of them from larger agencies that have many travel agents working for them and with them. And again, it is our opportunity to get in front of those who assist with travel planning, which our demographic really relies quite heavily on those services. And so we're going to be in a big educational push and a very strong marketing push in highlighting these initiatives through CLIA. Some of the other highlights here that are ongoing and really, these opportunities are a way of either introducing or reintroducing the Great Lakes to consumers and travelers who are very well-traveled, who are more affluent, and very much have probably seen a lot of what the world has to offer. So with that comes high expectations for unique and really customized experiences. And that's where the Great Lakes really shines. And we're coming together in a way that we really haven't seen, even in my experience as a member a number of years ago. So it's a really exciting time to have this opportunity to just share a very brief update. And the next slide just has my contact information as well as the organization's contact information. This is a work in progress. We are committed to hearing from our impact and provide services that are really meaningful to you. Thank you, and please share that information. Take care.
And Brian, you have a copy of that you can share with the rest of us?
I will email it out.
Okay. Very good, thank you very much. Anything from Sioux Ontario side?
I think we're good to move on.
All right, we're moving along into item 8, which is city key exchange. Do we have any directions or?
Well, I'll just say to our council that as part of the joint meeting, the last time we held this one was in, the last time we held such a joint meeting, I should say, was in 2017. I don't think Don was mayor yet.
Nope.
No, but he was there as a councillor. We unfortunately had Jay Gage there as a councillor as well, but we enjoyed having you on the Canadian side. We're hoping to make this a annual meeting.
For sure.
And continue the collaboration that we've started here tonight. Good meeting. Thank you, everybody from the Canadian side who attended, including our staff and all the councillors, of course. And we look forward to the positive relationship that is ongoing. We have brought for you, no surprise, I don't think, a key to the city, as it was on the council agenda. So we're presenting Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, with the key to Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. This will get you into all the hockey arenas.
Beer stores?
Socialized beer stores.
Well, on behalf of the City of Sault Ste. Marie, certainly the City Commission, we appreciate this. And we too have something for City of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. And this is something we don't bestow on anybody. We've only done, as far as I know, 3. One was to...
Didn't it used to be a bottle opener, though?
Well, that was when we gave it to Gene Simmons of KISS. And then we've only given 2 others, and one was to Jeff Blashill, who was the coach of the Red Wings, and to Abby Rock, who's a Olympic hockey player and now a professional hockey player. And it's our honor and privilege to give you the same key to City of Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan for City of Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario.
Thank you. Here, we'll go like
Okay.
that. And we have only bestowed the key to the city on Dr. Roberta Bondar, first
Okay.
female astronaut in space, and Michael Lamadio, the recent Stanley Cup champion who is born and raised in Sault Ste. Marie. So this is only the 3rd key that has
It
ever
is.
gone out.
It's an honor.
Thank you for having us today.
Thank you very much.
And with that, there's only one agenda item left for us,
Okay?
which is a motion to adjourn the Canadian side meeting. Councillor Caputo and Councillor Hollingsworth. All in favor?
Okay,
That
and from
carries.
the City of Sault Ste. Marie, traditionally, we go to Mayor Pro Tem Bauer. Would you like to make the motion?
Your Honor, I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. We adjourn this meeting.
Fast, everybody.
All in favor,